I'm Marcin Zajkowski. I want to present for you a topic about Umbraco. Let's start from the beginning. It's not a tech presentation. I don't want to bore you with code stuff, etc. I want to bust some myths and play with you as a mythbusters. But let me introduce myself. Some of you may know me. Some of you I know already from other Umbraco events across the globe. My name is Marcin. I am co-owner and lead developer at SICC. We are a small software house working with agencies across the globe, building stuff only with Umbraco since 2010. We did a lot of other technologies and projects. We were struggling with some mobile applications at some point, but we decided to specialize in Umbraco. And like I said, maybe from 3 or 4 years, we are doing only Umbraco, besides maybe 1 or 2 projects. I'm also a team and technology wizard at WoW School, where we are teaching young children how to program. We are teaching children in age 8 to 12 and 13 to 17. And we are also showing them Umbraco for the older ones, trying to convince them to use one and only and the best CMS in the world. But the little ones are also awesome, and I'm really involved into teaching right now. So this is the second job of mine, and I'm really enjoying this. And like Adam introduced me earlier, I also help to run meetups in Poland, because I really feel the same way like the Cogworks, that this CMS is awesome and it needs to be known. And I was a .NET developer previously, before I started my own company. And when I was working in this company, I also started an internship in Microsoft. I tried to show you my road from point A to point B, because my journey with Umbraco started in Microsoft when I was an intern. Microsoft was really helping Umbraco at that point. It was 2008, 2009. And we were traveling across the Poland showing Umbraco and other Microsoft stuff for young students in schools after primary school, in high schools and technical schools. And yeah, that's where I get known about Umbraco, when I started doing some side projects with Umbraco. And I also feel that it has a future. It was version 4.0 or 4.1 at that point. And I showed it for my colleagues in work, and we decided to use it. And since then, all of our internal projects are based on Umbraco, despite of those which we were selling for our customers. So yeah, that was my journey. Like I said, I did a lot of other technologies and stuff, but I don't want to get back to them. I want to focus on Umbraco, and that's what I'm doing. And like I said before, we want to be mythbusters. I don't know if you know this TV show. It was running, or still is running, on Discovery Channel. Those guys are getting some myths, trying to prove that it's wrong or not, and they have a lot of fun with this. So I hope that we will also have a lot of fun trying to bust some myths around Umbraco. But let's introduce a CMS market first. When I was presenting those presentations for people not from tech-y groups, I always bring the number of CMS across whole technologies. It's about 200 different systems right now on Wikipedia, and this is a huge number. They are split into technologies, and the list is available on this link. There is a lot of free and open source ones, like Umbraco, for example, and there is a lot of commercial and with closed source and usually paid ones. Those which I hate the most are the custom ones. And all agencies have custom CMS, but they are all pain in the ass in the developers when they are trying to extend it and then trying to do something after other companies and other developers. And starting from this, Umbraco is really flexible and easy to extend. And if you are getting projects after other agency and other developer, you will find your place you will find a place for you. You will find a way to extend it to build something different. And if you even didn't had a chance to work with Umbraco, and you are just a .NET developer or C# developer, you will find a way to extend it and find a way to build something with it. Graph is also another point on each presentation. So, but the most important information from this slide is that the WordPress is really leading, and this is maybe a kind of even war between CMSs, because we try to prove that we are better at some scenarios, and WordPress is still trying to prove that they are for everything and they are the best and the biggest ones. Like you can see, there is no Umbraco at this graph. And this is something really worrying, because I tried to find the latest information, latest stats about market share with Umbraco. It is about 0.1% of worldwide usage for Umbraco. So it really needs improvements, and that's what we are doing right now. And yes, there is also a lot of other CMSs, a lot of .NET CMSs. And if I remember correctly, in 2014, Umbraco get a prize as the best .NET open source CMS. So comparing with .NET CMSs, it's really also important, but comparing with WordPress is better fun for us. So yeah, trying to convince people to use Umbraco, we usually are starting with showing off companies who are using it. And probably you recognize some of the brands from these slides. And Microsoft use it for a lot of internal websites and also public ones. Peugeot is using it. Carlsberg has a lot of small and bigger sites running on the latest Umbraco as a service. Harrods is also, I couldn't prove that, but I tried to find a lot of information about Harrods, but they are also used or using Umbraco. And Randstad in Poland, for example, is also using Umbraco as well. Heinz too. It sometimes works because people try to believe that, okay, companies using it, and those are big brands, so probably it will also work for us. Let's see. But there is also a lot of other arguments and also other information needed to convince other people. And people are different. And I would like to I introduce myself. I wanted you to introduce yourself. So I will be glad if you will raise hands. Who are you from you are a developer? Okay, cool. Who is a business owner? And who is a who is an editor? Who is using Umbraco? Who is using Umbraco? Cool. Justin, sorry for that. What I wanted to say, people are different, and there are different arguments and different ways to convince people to use Umbraco. And there are always haters, even certified ones. So if you are a certified hater, despite of the fact what technology or what CMS you are using, you can't be convinced. And we struggle a lot fighting with people using other CMSs. We try to convince them, they try to convince us. It never ended well. So haters gonna hate, like it said, so we don't want to convince haters. Okay, so what if we don't know how Umbraco tastes? And this slide shows those candies with Umbraco logo types, but the contrast can't show it. So if we don't know how Umbraco tastes, we need someone who will tell us what it is. Because as a .NET developer, I was attending a lot of .NET groups, a lot of .NET meetups, and I talked a lot with people who are really great and awesome developers here in Poland, and they didn't know about Umbraco. When I was talking to them about CMS systems, they always bringing WordPress. I don't know why, but probably that's because of the fact that WordPress is the biggest CMS. But it's not on .NET. They always try to build something custom, which I told you that I hate the most. So they need someone, or groups, or people, or companies who will tell them what Umbraco is, how to use it efficiently, and how to really adopt it for their own projects. And there are different ways to achieve this goal. We can show off, trying to convince other developers and showing them the great features, great ways to achieve the goal. like the guy here. It's sometimes working, and I'm glad that you are mostly developers because you know what I'm talking about. Developers like to show off the best pieces of code, the best lines, and the worst ones too. And okay, some of them will be convinced and will try to adopt Umbraco in their own projects. But the other way is different. There are companies who are using Umbraco really well, but don't talk about it, don't show it, don't show it for anyone. And I really tried to compare it with something, and I found a drug dealing attitude, because they don't want to show off, they just want to do their job. And this is also a good way of achieving their goal, because Umbraco is perfect for them, they are using this, and they don't need to show off and convince other people to also believe in Umbraco. Maybe we are different, as SICC or Cogworks, maybe we are different, we are trying to spread this love and to try to convince others to use this CMS. But the other people just trying to use it and using this sometimes well, sometimes bad. The bad fact is that some companies have no idea about using it properly. That's why certifications, trainings, meetups, conferences like this are really important, because when I started to use Umbraco, I tried to use it in the wrong way. We downloaded a source code of the whole project with all the libraries, etc., and we ran our own project based on the source code, whole source code of Umbraco. That was the biggest anti-pattern which you can make, and we couldn't update it in the future. But I will bring this in the next slides. Third way is the best one. You are happy, your customer is happy, you are achieving your goals as a developer, you are using a great tool you are realizing yourself as a developer, your customer and editors are happy because they are using a great piece of software at the end, and everyone is happy, and then we can drink a champagne or something else together. And like other CMSs, because we are all here on Umbraco conference, and that's obvious that we will be trying to show you that Umbraco is the best, but attending WordPress conference, Drupal conference, Sitecore conference, they always telling us that their CMS is the best. So my presentation is not about comparing directly with those CMSs, but also showing that there are all other ways, and we can choose the best way for us. And from my point of view, Umbraco was the best way at almost all cases in my business and private projects life. And WordPress is usually considered as a blogging platform, but we can also build blogs on the top of Umbraco. Magento is used usually for e-commerce, but there is also a lot of commercial and free packages to run stores and any other e-commerce on the top of Umbraco. Drupal, it's really unknown for me and for developers with whom I'm talking about. They're always scared when I'm talking about Drupal, and when companies are coming for me and trying to convince me to extend their project in Drupal, I don't even look on this. So I don't know what's your opinion about this CMS. But there is a lot of CMSs, and we can't compare with all of them. We just need to focus on our work and try to squeeze as much as we can from Umbraco. So let's start with myth one. Umbraco is open source, so everyone can hack it. It's really popular myth, not only with Umbraco, but also probably with other open source systems, and maybe Rune can confirm that or decline later. But there's a lot of other open source systems, and probably you recognize some of them. No one tells anyone that Mozilla Firefox is not secure, because this is open source. No one tells that the Bitcoin is unsecure, and no one can break the Bitcoin encryption for years. And Bitcoin is also open source. Linux is considered as one of the safest operating systems for computers, and they're also open source. So seeing this from my perspective, it's if you are considering open source software as something which is kind of danger for people, I see it different, because if we all looking at the same source code, we are seeing problems, bugs, or not good solutions for some problems, and we can always fix it. If we don't have ability to do it, we can always ask someone who is capable of this and try to fix it, because we want to use it without those bugs. And like with other pieces of software, from my perspective, it shouldn't be considered as something which is danger or a problem at the end. Also, in late 2014, Microsoft announced that their platform .NET Core will go open source, and that was a huge step from Microsoft policy perspective, and they noticed a huge raise in attractivity of their platform, because now people are working and trying to adapt Visual Studio to be used on Macs, for example, to servers and Dockers and other containers are enabling us to run those applications on other servers than Windows ones. So it's all a result of those operations, because Microsoft didn't have resources to do this internally, because they can't spread and try other different things with which can't make a profit in the future. But people can. People have resources. People want to play. People want to know how it's built. So people are playing, trying to adapt, and as a result, for example, we have a Visual Studio code which we can use on Macs, and it's growing and still will be bigger definitely in the future. And in most cases, servers are hacked, not applications. So server is also important. And the funny fact is that the stealing password from user or seeing it on a paper stick to the laptop also is considered as hacking. I tried to find some numbers, and because from my perspective and my previous journeys with WordPress, for example, I noticed that even our internal blog, which was not used at all, was sometimes, from time to time, hacked. And there were some Arabian or India guys trying to break a stuff and go into the unused unused blog with no content. I don't know why, but now I know, because they are crawling a lot of plugins in WordPress, for example, and trying to just break as much website as they can. From this report, we can find that in all breaking cases and distributions, WordPress is the most affected with hacking and malicious software trying to be injected. It's normal because they are the biggest, but it is also the biggest problem and the biggest argument for people to not choose WordPress, for example, as a CMS, because they also have a subpage on their WordPress.org telling people what steps you should make if you get hacked. I didn't find anything on Umbraco website about it, and to be honest, since I started working with Umbraco, I didn't have any problem with security around Umbraco, and we ran a lot of security scans, and even third-party companies were scanning our website and couldn't find big issues with Umbraco. And about those plugins, because plugins are also the biggest problem in WordPress. The top 3 popular plugins on the WordPress market cost almost 104 all problems and vulnerabilities with this software. The other stuff is also important, but the plugins, which probably most of the people were using, are causing a lot of problems. So I consider this myth as busted. Let's go to myth 2. You can create websites without programming knowledge with other CMSs. And my answer is yes, we can. But should we do it? Really? If anyone can do it, I'm really glad that we are almost all developers. If anyone can do it, what's the case? I want to build something unusual, something different, something better than the other people. So if anyone can grab a piece of software, click through it, and build a website, and there's a lot of companies in Poland doing this with WordPress and other CMSs. But we, as a developers, probably with ambitions, we need to consider if it's really, really important. And of course, Umbraco is also enabling us those steps. There's a lot of starter kits, and I was really amazed of number of those starter kits, because not all of them are listed during the installation. If you were installing Umbraco, there is a probably free starter kits to be chosen, but there are 2 pages of them on umbraco.org, on our Umbraco. And there are different starter kits for blogging websites. So if you want to start a blog, there are even 2 of them. One of them is made by Anthony from Cogworks, uBlogsy. There is Articulate, made by Shannon for blogging websites. So you can easily start a blog on Umbraco just installing a starter kit or a plugin for your website. There's a local government website. So if you want to start a government, local here website, you can grab a starter kit and extend it in your own way. E-commerce site, like I said previously, and any other piece of really good content to start with. And you can do it, anyone can do it, and just try to find a way how it's working and find yourself inside the project. Other helpers and options, you can always use plugins and packages in all CMSs, both free and commercial ones. You can use community help, attend meetups, attend conferences, and if you are not a programmer, you can always learn how to code in different technologies, and this is the best probably and the great way to just build something amazing with technology. And what I always tell you that CMSs are not click, maintain, and settle, and forget sometimes. And a lot of people are trying to build a business model around this, and they're trying to sell, install, configure, and forget. But it's not the way how it's supposed to work. There's important stuff during each update of Umbraco and any other CMS. So we need to keep an eye and have in mind that the journey is not ending when you install and you have ability to configure CMS and just show it to Word on some website. This myth is plausible. The contrast is not saying. So I can say that, yeah, we can build it, but should we? Like I said before. The myth number 3, there is a less .NET developers than PHP ones, for example. And I checked it, and we can base on estimations. Zend, one of the biggest companies created Zend framework, estimate that in the late 2015 there were 5 million of PHP developers across the globe. And Xamarin, for example, which are now leading in building cross-platform developments using C#, brings the estimate about 8 million in late 2014. And I marked this as a bold because it was the year before the previous estimate, and this number is still growing. I checked our local market. Oh, yeah, first start from here. How many PHP developers are in the room? I know about you, yeah. And .NET C# developers? Yes. Yeah, okay. I wanted to do it. Yeah, I checked it on our local websites, and I scanned Pracuj.pl, which is one of the biggest job offers websites in Poland, and I found 316 offers for PHP developer, and 615 offers for C# developers. And let's remain those numbers. Then I scanned. Then I scanned LinkedIn profiles using the skills, and I found those numbers across the globe, and they are not so much different. And keeping in mind that the job offers in Poland offering more job opportunities for .NET developers, this number is bringing some consideration. So we have less .NET developers and more opening jobs for them. So we are in really good position, right? And still, we are talking about developers. And there are developers and developers. And I don't want to bring any jokes and myths about PHP developers. There's a lot of them. But I just want to bring the topic that developers are different. And it's really hard to find a great developer. I, as a company owner, I'm struggling with finding great developers to work with because we didn't want to hire anyone from the street, for example. We always tried to find the best people to work with. And when I am asked about choosing and, I don't know, recommending some PHP developers company who can take big projects and do it properly in style and quality which clients expect, I don't have any company in mind right now. In C# there are some of them. So how many great developers, either C# or PHP, you know? It's really great question, because we really need to focus on great developers. We need to try to be a great developers, not just usual ones. And this is also a big high five for you, because you are attending conferences like that. If we are doing this, we are extending our knowledge, our skill set, and everything else around us, and we are becoming better developers than the other ones who are not in this room, for example. So this myth is also plausible. Myth number 4, Umbraco is developed and shipped by Microsoft. And I heard it a lot, because some companies are not in the right path with Microsoft. A lot of people, especially after using SharePoint, they hate Microsoft. And there is a myth about Umbraco that it's built by Microsoft. So no, and I can bust this myth. Microsoft loves Umbraco, because I'm working close with Microsoft. They are really willing to help here in Poland, especially to spread this love about Umbraco. They run Umbraco, and for example, ASP.NET website and Microsoft.com is running on top of the Umbraco, and trying to help Umbraco. Now there's a try. They tried in 2008-9 when I was an intern there, and they are willing to help right now. And I hope that they will put some efforts, more efforts to expand our local community here in Poland. Yeah, but it's not their product. Myth is busted. Myth number 5, .NET hosting is more expensive than PHP. You agree? Yes, it is. But the difference is not so huge, and I personally don't want to consider hosting costs as a really huge case for company or business who want to run a website. You can save some money on hosting and do the job for better PHP programmers, but if you don't know any, you can choose the more expensive hosting. And right now, Umbraco is running Umbraco as a service. I don't know if you are familiar with this, but pricing also has changed, and for 45 euros per month, you can run a single website with 2 environments and run it without any problems, migrating content between websites, updating with one click, and forget about other problems, because it will fit for most of the small and medium businesses, because from what I have known, also Carlsberg is running on Umbraco as a service with those plans, and they are doing well. So yeah, this myth is confirmed, and this is only one which is confirmed. This pricing is really bigger for .NET hosting. Myth number 6, the upgrade myth. And I found a really great article from 2011 about upgrade myth. I will bring this. It's about version about which we can't talk. Rune, you can see it, because it's really probably not known that it ever exists. This line is the best. We are not like that. We are a rare crowd of curious, bold, hungry, and foolish people, and Umbraco 5 is the testament. You don't have to worry about upgrading your Umbraco site, but it's time to upgrade yourself. I started from version 4. I didn't put so many efforts on version 5. I'm glad for that. Some of are certified developers for version 5, so it's also a funny fact. But yeah, Umbraco updates and updates in all CMSs are really hard, usually hard, but not now. Even some guy created a pull request to enable us to compare specific version on our Umbraco, and I checked for this presentation changes from the biggest release in last couple months or even a year, 7.5 to 7.5.3, and there were 13 issues and tasks changed in this period, and this is really short period. And like all the guys from HQ and all the guys from community said, you need to update often and try to update often, because you will bring a lot of problems in the future. Those updates are not, sometimes are huge ones, and sometimes are about security and other important stuff around Umbraco. So you need to update. Updates are now easy, and if you are using NuGet, for example, you just put your one command in package managing console, and you are upgrading Umbraco to the next level. This year on Code Garden, Per was talking about migrating MUM to Umbraco as a service, and I was really impressed because he upgraded a website using Umbraco v.4 to the latest 7.2 2 or 3 at that moment, or even 4. And that was this presentation is available online, and the video is on this website, and you can check how easy it looks. It's not always so easy, but those steps are really easy to replicate, and they are the only one and proper ones to update your websites to the highest version. So yeah, I don't want to talk about it. It's on the video, and you can check it later. So myth is busted. And I found a lot of information about other CMSs. They're all struggling with updates. So this is a common problem, not only related with specific one. Myth number 7, Sitecore is an enterprise solution, whereas Umbraco is suited to small, medium-sized businesses. I found this statement on Umbraco website. It's in our Why Umbraco subpage, and Umbraco is introducing themselves as a really flexible software, and I can confirm it. I really believe that even the biggest websites in any business area can be run on Umbraco, and even small ones. We created a lot of them. We created small websites in couple days, and they are running well. And we created a huge, massive projects used by even millions of users. So required heavy usage and heavy optimization. They are all running on the same Umbraco. So this myth can be easily busted because seeing this from other perspective, I heard a lot of information that Sitecore has it. But yes, if you want to spend 100,000 euros for a license, something around that, okay, you can have the software, but you can spend it on a great developers to build something even better and suited for specific scenarios. And there is a lot of packages coming out lately. For example, personalization groups, for example, A/B testing done on Umbraco, and it's all going in the way that we are all expecting, the clients expecting, because they want to have personalization content, they want to have A/B testing on the website. That was all in Sitecore, but they don't need to pay for that. So I'm expecting that the Umbraco will become well known, and the packages which are coming, and in the Umbraco V8, the personalization will be built into the core, or even earlier. I need to confirm it. Yeah, it's going on the way to be used also in enterprise business, but probably the problem is that Umbraco is not introduced as an enterprise solution. It's introduced as a perfect fit, easily tool, maybe some framework to be extended with Umbraco, with ASP.NET developers to fit their needs. I don't know if you see it, but there is an elephant in the middle of nowhere. And I saw a TV show where the magicians were exploring how they made some magic. And they were telling us how to make the elephant disappear. And a lot of people using Sitecore, for example, want this elephant to disappear. It's too huge, too big for their expectation. They want to only a CMS, because we are talking only about CMSs at the end. So Sitecore is a really elephant. And there are scenarios, of course, where it could be used. But there are also a lot of scenarios where it's used in non-proper way. And the conclusion of this myth is time versus money, always. Like I said, we can spend money on great developers and build something internally, rather than spending 100,000 euros for a license to just use it. And time is money, always. And we can buy time, we can buy resources, but at the end, the client is paying. So let them choose for what they want to pay, but let's bring them possibilities. And having knowledge about Umbraco and any other CMS helps us to bring their other possibilities, because maybe they don't know. They just have a Sitecore Gold partners trying to convince them that Sitecore is the best, or they are meeting in the PHP developers conference on the second end of the Krakow and someone is telling you that the WordPress is the best, use WordPress. I don't know, but we need to have this tool in our hand and try to convince them to consider other possibilities. So myth is busted. And myth number 8, development in Umbraco is too expensive. talking about time versus money, it always depends. I am speaking with a lot of developers across Poland. The business is changing, and the funny fact is that a lot of developers, they don't code for food, so we need to pay them. And I didn't find any reasonable connection that the PHP or C# developers have different rates. Awesome developers always have higher rates. You can hire someone who will click through the back office of some CMS other than Umbraco. You can pay for PHP developers to build stuff. You can pay for C# developers to build some stuff. We are paying for everything, so it's not so important, but it always depends for what you want to spend your money or for what you want to earn your money. So if you're a great developer, you're expecting a great value from your work, and the client's also expecting great value from your products. And myth number nine, support is lacking. And I found a lot of information about it, that support is a problem in not only in Umbraco, but in other CMSs. And I found a great case lately, especially after Code Garden, which is telling us the truth. Support is not lacking in Umbraco. And we are talking about this community. Community really matters, and this is not I know, only a myth or fact, about a community in Umbraco. We are here, you will see, I really believe that you will see and feel the power of community after this conference today. But you can also see what power brings Ravi to the street in the giraffe costume. That was after a bingo this year on Code Garden. And why I'm talking about support? He could be naked. But no, Niels gave him a giraffe costume or someone else, and he safely arrived home. It's really supportive from the other people. And I remember that John, with who I stayed in Odense, has a key for Ravi's apartment. And he just woke up at the morning and said, "Oh my God, I have Ravi key, and he has no clothes, and he is in giraffe costume. What he did?" And then we refreshed Twitter and found a walk of shame tweet about Ravi's picture in giraffe costume, and he didn't have shoes. So yeah, he landed in the hot bath tube in clothes. And Ravi is a really cool guy, really great developer too. Umbraco community is different, and I'm telling this for everyone who I met. I attended Code Garden for the first time this year. It was my first because previous one I can't attend because I was getting married at this date. And for sure I'll be attending as much as I can in the future, because the power after this conference, there are some guys from Code Garden too from this year which I met. The community power is really strong, and I don't know if you heard about Mike Sadowski from Brand24. Please raise your hand who heard about Michał? Oh, there's not so much of it. Mike is a Brand24 owner, and he is they are running a social monitoring software tool, which grabs some mentions in social medias and try to convert to business. And he's responding for every tweet about Brand24, social monitoring, etc., to just prove people that their tool is working. And Umbraco has their own Mike Sadowskis. They are called Umbraco unicorns, and they live on our Twitter, Stack Overflow, and any other areas. And there's only one Mike Sadowski in this community. If you have a problem, you can always bring this on Twitter. Like Adam said, Twitter is not so popular, but it should be, and it will be sooner or later. You can bring this on the forum, and you will always find an answer, probably, because even I found myself on the place where I was solving someone else's problem, not doing my job, trying to prove that this is possible. And the people are struggling with a lot of problems. That's why they need our help. So be unicorn for other people. Not only get knowledge, but also share your knowledge, because it's important for someone else. And myth number 10, Umbraco is complex, it's not so popular, I won't get a job with skills like it. It's happening now. Here, we are getting knowledge, we are trying to be better than other developers. And the market is growing. Cogworks is here, Cogworks is always hiring. and they're always trying to find great developers here in Krakow and in London. So if you will extend your skills, you will attend meetups, conferences, and other stuff, you will be better than other people. And it's like I said, this is a replication of what happened in the UK. And I'm pretty sure that it will happen someday. And we need to be prepared, so squeeze as much as you can from today's presentation. And how to convert those conclusions from those old 10 myths into benefits. I think that we can't stop learning. We need to learn. As a developer, when I started my own business, I felt really bad about myself because my development skills gone really bad. When I heard a lot about .NET, new .NET stuff, frameworks, tools, etc., I always have a mind blow because I can't use it, and I didn't use it in the previous project. But I want to get them known. Use those opportunities like this conference. Hire wisely. If you are a business developer, hire great people. Only great people, because great people are great value. And I couldn't find a transition and English saying in this, but takich trzech jak nas dwóch to nie ma jednego. It's better to find 2 awesome people than 3 or 5 poor ones. And we proved that a lot as a SICC, as a company, because we have 3 people and we are doing projects with probably agencies or companies with 20 people may fail at sometimes. And yeah, and don't fight with haters. There's a lot of fanboys and haters around each technologies. We don't want to fight with them. We just want to do our jobs better and better each time, and build awesome stuff on top of CMSs. So thank you, and let's pass some other myths right now, if you have any questions for me. No? Not now? During the coffee? Okay, cool. Thank you.